I was making a little dice tower and thought I'd make a short video, so I'm going to go over the pieces that I used. What I've got here is just kind of a sketch up of what I've made, and for my left and right sides, they are 9 inches tall, 3 1/4 inch wide, and 5/16 inch thick. You need 2 of those. And then I've got my front with my opening here and my back, and they are 9 inches tall, 1 5/8 wide, and 5/16 thick. And then I have also my shelves, which are 3/16 inch thick and 1 1/4 inch wide. And then when you end up cutting them, they need to be 1 1/2 inches long, and you'll need 3 of them. The bottom side is the same dimensions, 1 1/4 wide, but you need to cut it to length, as I'll go over in this video. But as you can see, I just want to show you my pieces here. So this is what I use for A and C, this stick. And then this is what I use for B and D. And I just used a table saw to do that. So here's the front piece I made. And I just wanted to go over how I did this little archway. If you don't have the tools to make a little archway like this, you can always just cut it straight across, but know that whenever you slot it together, you're going to have these gaps, you know, just as if you were sticking it like that. But what I like to do is just use an 1 1/8 spade bit, center it, but I go up a little bit from the end. That way it doesn't try to split out whenever you're drilling it. And then I use a jigsaw to kind of trim it up. So this is what it kind of looks like. So this is actually the front of it where the dice falls out. And you can just figure up your marks. I think that's about 1/4 inch right here. And just use your table saw to kind of set a certain depth and run it over the top using push sticks and stuff, so you don't cut off your hand or anything. And so there's the front, and here's the back. So you can stick this in there. You can kind of see how those line up. Now I wanted to show you, this is about 1 inch from the end, and this cut is about 5 1/2 inches to this point right here. And then I've got these bevels, where I've got 2 of them here, and this one on the back is 3 inches, and this one here is about 7 3/4. So you can kind of fiddle with them where you want, depending upon how tall you want to make your tower. Say you want to make it 1 foot tall, or you want to make it shorter, or you just have a couple of them, you know, you can make it just this tall. That's probably about 7 inches. So here you can see I've got the 3 steps set in there. They're 1 1/2 long by 1 1/4 wide. And this piece is, I don't know if I said that earlier. Yeah, I did. It's 1 5/8 wide. So, yeah. So I usually just make a mark right there so I can cut it to fit. And you can see I'll just take the saw, cut it off, and then take all this back apart, start gluing everything up, and put a couple clamps on it. And that would be the basic tower. When you do fit it together and you've got glue on it, you need to make sure you get all your joints lined up properly before you try to put clamps on it. So make sure they're all flush and clamp it up. So here it is all clamped up, and I'm going to let that dry, and I've got to make the base yet. So this is the dimensions for the tray. The base itself that I've got here is 2 3/8 wide by 9 1/2 inch long. And then what I did is I took a piece of stock that I've got, which is 3/8 of an inch thick, and I just ran it through the table saw a couple times, big enough to make a groove that this will fit in. And the dimensions I have for those, they're each going to be 10 inches long. You'll need 2 of them, and then they'll have to be cut at an angle or however you decide to do that for yourself. And the short pieces are 2 3/4, and it's 1 inch wide, this stock that I have, and I think I went about 3/4 to the center on the table saw to cut this groove, and I did have to cut it a little wider, but just mess around it yourself. You know, all these dimensions are just kind of a reference. If you decide you don't have the wood to do something and you need to change it for yourself, go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go ahead and get this glued up, and I'll show you what it looks like right now. Well, bam, and there it is. So I'll let that dry overnight, and the tower part that I've got all glued up will just sit right in there. And you can put felt down in the bottom or something, but then when you're not using it, it'll store like that. And I'll show you what it looks like when it's together, and just put a rubber band around it or something. So here's my finished product. This is my first one I made. Here's the latest ones, and I just usually put a rubber band on it, you know, for when I'm carrying it in my backpack and keep it with my notebook or whatever. And you know, see what I rolled? Pretty low. 8 on that one. Chances of that happening. So yeah, if you want to, you can kind of use this as just a reference, the directions I gave you, and hopefully you'll find something that works out for you.